Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Shatakshi, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how hiring at tier 1 MBA colleges in India look like. So it's a very interesting topic because typically people are really curious how my hiring status would be when I would be graduating from a top IIM or ISB in India. And rightfully so, because the fees that these top institutes charge is definitely humongous, especially if you come from, like my background, a middle class Indian background. So before we jump onto the step by step, once again, I have divided this video into two parts. The first one is, at least in terms of expectations, what could you expect? And then we will go about how the employers come on campus, what do the stats look like, how can you imagine being placed, what all opportunities would you get exposed to as you would be on the campus. So first and foremost, let's be extremely honest. When you have given your CAT or GMAT, when you are sitting in IIM Ahmedabad, ISB, IIM Bangalore, you would have gone through a really rigorous process of selection. You would have taken your CAT or GMAT, you would have actually cleared the interview rounds, you would have gotten recommendation letters, and then lastly, you would have actually been selected. So I can totally imagine the kind of financial and emotional investment you would have already when you are sitting on the campus. Of course, then it comes to expectations. I know a few peers when I was on ISB campus who were really very much under the pressure of their parents. Not direct, but I would say implicitly there was a pressure of their parents, especially if their parents had funded their education. I can totally imagine, typically when people actually sign up for an MBA, their parents must be almost at their retirement age. My father was actually almost at his retirement age when I actually went to the ISB campus. So there is a pressure from the parents, and truth be told, if you're sitting in a top tier MBA institute in India, then a part of you is extremely competitive. Had you not been competitive, you would not have actually landed on the campus itself. So you have actually expectations out of your own self, how my employment will look like, where would I be hired, and what all can I imagine before even stepping on the campus. So if you're planning to apply to these top institutes, MBA institutes in India, then this video is going to be extremely helpful to you. I would urge you to watch till the end, because I'm going to be sharing my own personal harrowing experience that I went through. Oh my god, it's a kind of an experience that I've never went through in my life. That was the level of sharpness that I went through. So with that, let's directly jump into a step-by-step process. So step number one, let me actually help you understand the figures, the stats about the hiring figures. Now, if I'm talking about IIM ABC and ISB Hyderabad, clubbing all these four into the top echelons of MBA institutes in the country, I would say their average salary will actually range between 26 to 28 lakhs. That's the overall CTC, right? In hand is relatively less than that. Being very transparent, when I got my BCG offer from ISB Hyderabad, this is year 2018, I got a 33 lakhs offer. So this was above the average. So you could be below the average as well, but largely the average on IIM ABC and ISB Hyderabad campus is of the range of 26 to 28 lakhs. These figures are actually representative of the latest batch that has graduated, that is 2020. So that's point number one. Now there are other top institutes, of course, in India as well. You have SP Jain Institute, you have MDI, you have IIM Indore, IIM Lucknow, and many other institutes which are still on the top but may not be of the exact league as IIM ABC or ISB Hyderabad. I would say that their average salary will actually range in between 22 to 25 to 26 lakhs. Of course, there is no one right answer. It keeps on changing on a year to year basis. So that is how I would tier them a bit. IIM ABC and ISB in one bracket. Of course, to my mind, biases will come and I will place ISB even before IIM ABC, but that's all right. If I were to remove my biases, I would club all of these because at least in terms of salary, they look very similar. and then the rest of the IIMs and the FMS, MDI, SPGen of the world, their average salary will come in the range of 22 lakhs to then I would say 26 lakhs. This is the overall CTC I'm talking about. The in hand will be less. Being very transparent, when I got my BCG offer, then 24 was actually my basic in hand salary, and 33 lakhs was actually my overall CTC. But of course, it's not that the rest of the 9 lakhs was absolutely in there. Absolutely not. There was a joining bonus, there was an annual bonus, so on and so forth. There was PF, etc. So it's not that I did not get that money. I did get that, but of course, not that 9 lakh delta was not coming to me in hand on a month by month basis. What was really surprising to me before my MBA was actually earning 80,000 salary per month in hand. So I would get that. And to my mind, when I always thought that I would be doing my MBA, oh my, these 33 lakh figure salary, I would be jumping by 10x in my salary figures, so on and so forth. But typically it does not happen. In hand, what I was getting on a month by month was actually 1.5 lakhs per month. So if you think about it, it was almost a 2x jump in my salary, right? But of course, there are multiple other return on investment that I got, but just in my year one after my graduation, the return on investment that I got, or the salary jump that I got, was 2x. I was earning 80,000 per month before MBA, and after MBA I was earning actually 1.5 lakhs. But of course there were multiple other benefits that I got, even financially, because I went to work in Dubai, etc. That's where actually my salary took a hockey stick. I have explained the hockey stick curve. That's when it took place. So that's step number one. If you haven't liked the video yet, be sure to like, because if you like my content, then whenever I actually put out the content, you would not be missing out on it. So be sure to like the content, especially this video, if you haven't till now. We move to the second hiring ecosystem. What would your hiring look like if you are actually in a tier 1 MBA institute in India? So let me actually break down the universe in terms of sectors for you. Either you could be placed in consulting firm or in a strategy role, right, where I actually got my placement. I had my McKinsey BCG offers. Or you could actually be working in general management. What do I mean by general management? There are actually general management roles by Aditya Birla, Reliance, and even Tata, right? Tata Administrative Services. TAS does not come to ISB, but from what I know, it actually goes to all the top institutes. So those are the kind of second. So you actually do a bit of everything in these general management programs. You do marketing, you do finance, you do operations, so on and so forth. So that's the second kind of roles that actually you can take. The third kind of roles are actually marketing based. So P&G, right, Procter & Gamble, HUL, Hindustan Unilever, and many of the firms would be actually looking forward to hire you for a marketing role. The fourth kind of role could be operations or supply chain, right? There are so many logistic based startups. Amazon is there, Rivigo is there. They actually need data analytics driven operations manager, people who could reduce the turnaround time. Imagine you could be hired by Zomato, right? How could you reduce the turnaround time at a very macro level for all the deliveries that are taking place from the restaurant to the home? So that's the fourth kind of role that you could imagine. The fifth kind of role could be around product management, really upcoming. A lot of people, in fact, ISB boasts about placing maximum people in India from in product management roles. Last but not the least, there is corporate finance, right? So the sixth one could be corporate finance. You could be working in the corporate finance department for a conglomerate or even a startup. I have friends who have actually gone on to join corporate finance roles in leading startups who are actually about to be IPO'd, or even the larger conglomerates. Now, the kind of roles that people pick for themselves, and it is really very important that, especially in a one-year MBA like ISB, that you define the kind of role that you would be running after. Because if you want everything, you will end up being at no place, right? Because you need that level of focus and sharpness, because the level of preparation that you need for these kind of roles is really very dramatically different. So I would say it's a function of two things: A, your past experience, and B, your interest areas, right? So typically I've seen people who come from X background, they actually tend to gravitate towards X background again until or unless they really want to pivot out. So let me take my example. I came from the world of public policy. I had done startup before, I had done boutique consulting before. Right after my MBA, actually I joined BCG, but after BCG I knew that my true love is actually public policy, and hence I actually took up that Dubai Middle East role with Tony Blair, right? So I pivoted again back in the policy sector, and I know of friends who came from finance background. They actually took up higher senior managerial roles in finance sector. However, I know of people who were working in digital marketing and they wanted to just go to conventional marketing in HUL and PNG. So what I'm trying to say is, while people really love to do an MBA to pivot sectors, but what you would be really surprised would be most of them actually take up senior or more interesting or more strategical roles within the sector that they come from, especially if they are decently experienced in that arena. I'm talking about ISB. ISB has on an average of 4.5 years of experience of people who come on campus. I was actually having more than 5. So that's the kind of background that I saw people taking. That's the kind of parameter, I saw people choosing when they were actually deciding which sector to go to. And the second one is their interest areas as well, right? They can be more overlapping. So what background do you come from? What is your interest? They both can be talking to each other. They both could be different. And that if it is different, then it becomes a little hard, right? But if you can say that, Shatakshi, a lot of people want to join consulting. Consulting is almost sector agnostic or background agnostic, right? As long as you have problem solving skills, you could be working in operations or marketing or public policy, but if you have data oriented problem solving skills, you could be actually a good consultant. So consulting and general management programs are actually very sector agnostic. So that is the second thing that I wanted to share with you. If you haven't already thought about, it would be nice if you can at least start exploring on these directions, because people always think from point A to point B, right? They think that let me go to ISB and then I would figure out where do I want to go. Or ISB is known for consulting, let me just go to consulting. Let me actually break a myth for all of you. ISB Hyderabad has 600 people on campus. More than 400 people want to go for consulting. McKinsey, BCG, Bain combined would actually hire almost around, or even if you add Parthanan to it, even if you add LEK and Carney to it, there would be almost 80-90 people who would get consulting. That means the leftover, right, 300 people who were interested, actively interested, do not get into consulting. So it's good that you know you want that covetous program, but please understand it's an expensive degree. You should be able to have 2 options, if not A, B. I was very clear about my if not A, B program. Then that's the level of clarity I had even before I entered into the ISB campus, and hence ISB became a really successful return on investment based on the fees that I had paid to the school. So that's step number 2 for all of you. Then let's talk about step number 3, how hiring at top tier MBA institutes look like. Grades in India, unfortunately, are actually very important. So why would that be? I can totally imagine. Especially in ISB campus, right? What would really happen? All these people, 600 people on Hyderabad campus, 300 people on Mohali campus, these are really the creamiest layer in the country, right? They have gotten good GMAT, they have good professional experience, and they are now on the campus. So for someone to actually make sense to get a shortlist out of those 600 people, right, one of the important signal that they need from the students is grades, how good your grades are, right? As shitty as this may sound, I am completely against grades. I was not a Dean's Lister on ISB campus. I did not get a 4.0 GPA out of 4.0, but of course I managed to get into McKinsey and BCG, right? But why am I sharing this with all of you? People actually underestimate as and when they land on the campus, the value of grades. The value of grades is important, especially on ISB campus. From the first interaction that I've gotten from my friends from IIM Bangalore and IIM Calcutta is, if you join a position of leadership in important clubs in your first year, then of course you can influence your shortlisting indirectly, not unethically but indirectly. What people typically miss out on is, if you do not have good grades, even if you do not have a strong position of leadership in an important club in the top IIMs, then definitely you need a really high quality referral who could be inside the firm. And especially in McKinsey, BCG, Bain, no one below the level of partner, if they refer you, would be really fruitful. is the partner's word that is extremely valuable, extremely fruitful if you actually get a referral from them. So you have to make sure, for you to get actually really kick-ass short listing on the campus, you get that either of these three, if not all of these three. And of course, the answer varies from campus to campus. A lot of my answers are actually based on ISB Hyderabad, but I'm adding the other answers based on really good friends who have studied at IIM Bangalore. My friend went to McKinsey, IIM Calcutta went to McKinsey, Deutsche Bank, etc. Which brings me to my second last point, which is step number 4 on how hiring on the campuses look like. So once people have clarity on their shortlist, right, that I am going to be sitting for these 3 interviews or these 5 interviews, then mostly everyone on the campus, there is a phase where everyone is just solving cases. They could be marketing cases, they could be product management cases, or there could be out and out the consulting cases. Everyone, right? In fact, after a point of time, you're overwhelmed. Suddenly the first 3 terms, everyone is just preparing for grades, and then suddenly in the term 4, everyone is just preparing for cases. So there are phases in a B school where everyone is just doing one common theme, right? So everyone is just solving for cases. Please do not do this mistake where you try to solve a lot of cases even before landing on your business school campus. Please understand there are fundamental curriculum that a business school professor would teach you that could really be applied to a business case or a marketing case or a PM case that could actually give you a strong advantage, right? So you can get done with your basics. In fact, I always advise people at GGI Impact MBA Scholars Program, that's exactly the kind of ecosystem we provide. Get done with the basics before you enter onto the MBA campus, but please do not over-index on them. Please make sure that you get your grades right to the best of your capabilities. I gave my best shot, and whatever I got, I made peace with it, and I made sure that I had strategic advantage. For example, I had worked with the former chairman of McKinsey company. I had worked with former partners at BCG before even landing on the ISB campus. So please make sure that you play your cards well, right? When it comes to hiring, people just go really nuts over grades only, which is fine. But please try to play your cards really very well. You hedge your risks. Which brings me to my last point in this video. What was my experience? Because my MBA was, of course, completely offline, and there were 2 interviews that I was really focused on, McKinsey interview and BCG interview. It was not a very smooth experience because both the firms really wanted me to pick them over the other. And I remember sitting in one interview and McKinsey is calling me, hey, your next interview scheduled with you, and I'm sitting with a McKinsey partner, and BCG is calling me and they're saying we have an offer in hand for you, but you need to be here in the next 5 minutes, so on and so forth. I was really blessed because my partner flew on campus and he was really very lovely in managing the expectation of the other firm while I was actually getting interviewed by another firm. But in India, I think because the firms come on the campus rather than you go to their office for interviews, at times it can look like a fish market. It's a lovely fish market because most of the employers, if you are good on skills, right, they would love to have you. They would want to freeze you and close your candidature ASAP. But at times I wish, not just for my institutes, that the actually commonality across the institutes, right, it can be fish market across IIM, ABC, and multiple other IIMs. And I know a lot of you actually watching this video would love to trade place, that I would love to actually be be in a situation where McKinsey and BCG are both fighting for me, but I think a mature part in me would probably say or advise or would look forward to a world where things are actually much more calmer. I have started influencing those things by being on the panel of ISB, by taking interviews of new oncoming batch, and I would actually try to influence where even the placement, if not for other institutes, it's much more calmer, much more structured, much more peaceful, so that students have a much more conducive environment when they are taking interviews. That's all I had to discuss in this video with all of you in terms of how hiring at Tier 1 MBA institutes look like. If you like my channel, be sure to subscribe it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It definitely motivates you. Get notified every time, every day, whenever I'm putting up my videos on career advancement, personal finance, and lots of productivity hacks.